Hello everyone, welcome to the next part of information gathering, which is about Google hacking database or Google Docs techniques. So let's start with first the Google Docs and the usage of Google Docs. So Google Docs is also known as a Google hacking, so which is not about how to hack Google, but it's all about how to use the advanced search techniques to identify the information from Google search engine. So there are a lot of Google Docs. You can find out it from Google or exploitdb.com. There are a lot of Google Docs which will help us to identify information from the Google. So on my screen here some of the Google Docs that we use in our daily life, and it's these Google Docs are most important to identify the information. Like we have a file type is there, in URL is there, define, phone book, insight, cache, and the last that is wildcard. So these are some of the Google Docs which are the famous and important Google Docs to help us to identify information, right? And here on my another screen you guys can see there are some of the techniques that I have already mentioned in my notepad. So these kind of techniques which will help us to identify more information from with the help of these Google Docs. So let's start with first with file type. So file type is basically this is one of the most usable and popular Google Doc which will help us to identify information, and this is used to search any kind of file extension or the file extension. I think you guys know very well of file extension, maybe a .jpg, PNG, right? PDF is there, Excel is there. So there are a lot of extensions that we have. So let's start with some of the demonstration how to identify information through these Google Docs. Uh, Most of us, what we will do, for example, we need a PDF, right? So what we'll do, we just start with a normal search, like we need a network related PDF. Then what we'll do, we write just network security PDF, right? This is our way, and then hit enter. Now here you guys can see there are a lot of result that we will find out. And if you see on the below response, there are some of the PDFs and some of the links, but not all are PDF, right? So it may be a time consuming and you will go one by one, so you will get the PDFs, right? So what we'll do to make it more accurate search or to identify the accurate result, you can just write, or you can just take the help of file type Google Doc. You can write here file type colon PDF, and then your search that what you want, like you want a network security PDF, and hit enter, and here you guys can see the result, right? And when you see all the links, it will belongs to the PDF. This one is PDF, second is the PDF, third is the PDF, fourth is the PDF, all are the PDFs, right? So this is how we can find out accurate information through the file type extension. Rather, if you want any Excel, then you can just write here Excel, or you can just write here any PNG, JPG, anything that you want. You can search whatever you want, right? So like we can just write here as well as Excel, right? So here it belongs to the Excels. What are the files, right? So next, again we have more techniques to identify information. We have a username, email, password. How you can identify this information, you just write this one. I just copy this and paste it here, and this is my file type Google Doc Excel, and it will identify information through of related username, password, emails. Just hit enter, and there are a lot of Excels that belongs to the password or username or email or any sensitive information that you can identify, right? So here credit card, money accounts information is there of the indiradekar.com, right? So password, HubSpot information are there. You can click on any of the link. Just if when I click on this, just save it on my desktop, and let's see what information is inside this Excel. Oh my god, you guys can see here we have the information like site login ID, password. I think this is the very sensitive information, and it will be helpful for an attacker or anyone to misuse this information, right? And there are, okay, so there is one sheet which contain the data, right? So this way you can take the help of file type as well as to identify the information or to gather more information of any target. We have another way to identify, like we have a file type log in URL. So with the help of you can also use two, three, or more than two Google Docs at the same time. Like here we have file type and in URL. So before going to this search, I will just first tell you what is in URL. In URL basically search for a specific text that is in URL, right? So let's copy this again and go to your search engine, paste it here and hit enter. And here you guys can see some of the information related to password logs of any website, right? You guys can see here, if you click on this, you click on any of this and you gather the information that what is inside this link. So this will help us for the sometimes this will help us for the bounty programs, as well as when you go for the bug bounty programs, then it also helps us for to gather the information related to the information which is already placed on Google, but it's a sensitive information, right? Oh my god, you guys can see this is the link that is contain some of the password, which is a log file, right? It's loading, and here this is the information. Let's see what's inside this information. This is just a kind of paragraph, and let's search for the keywords like password or passphrase. Like there are three keywords. They had your password, this I think this may be the important information, or passphrase. You guys can identify information through this way, and definitely there are the things that will help us for the attack, like default username. You guys can see, so there may be a default username, right? You can search the sensitive information, just like username, password, API, credit card, anything you can search and identify the information on basis of your attack. Then we have the next is, like we have a site is basically a doc which will show you the full list of all indexed URLs for the specific domains and subdomains. That is the working of site. This one is the site, and you can also use this site Google Docs to identify information. You can just even write on the search engine, and it will search for the network security related content in the application like Google. So here all the links belongs to google.com, and it include all their subdomains, and it contains the information related to network security. right? So it will search from all the domains, subdomains that Google has. This is the way you can identify information through the site Google Doc, right? And then we have a phone book. Phone book is also important Google Doc. You can just write here phone book and colon msn.com. Now I have to identify information or information related to phone numbers or any contact list that is useful for me. You can just write here the target like phone book colon msn.com or any target you want from which you want information. So here in the second link you guys can see some of the information that I have found. This one is the phone number and the email address, right? There is also another email address. This one there is another phone number. So this way you can identify the phone number information by using the phone book Google Doc. And the next we have how to use the two or three Google Docs. You can just write like this. I have already mentioned this notepad. You can write here. I have already told you that how you can use these two Google Docs, right? Or you can also use inside site anything, any type of Google Doc you can use with at the same time. So this will be helpful to identify more information, right? And next we have also a in URL. We can also use this in URL like this. It will identify information related to the uh, open webcams. If you just write here open webcam but don't go for the bedroom and all these things, you just go for the live webcams or any like airport. So if I just click on the airport webcam, so mm, always remember the things. It is the great or a very no see very big security misconfiguration that the cameras of airport is open for all. So this is a great finding. So it may allow an attacker or anyone to create a crime. So don't go for this, right? And if there are critical or sensitive information is open for all, then uh, report it to the vendor, right? So these are the Google Docs, some of the Docs which will be used for the information gathering, and there are a lot of Google Docs which will help you for identifying the information. Right, you can use this type as well as. So there are other Google Doc like in URL. So file type is there. So there are a lot of ways that you can use the Google Docs to identify the information. And one thing is more, if you really want to learn more about Google Docs, then you can just r- write here GHDB and exploit. So here the list of Google Docs you can see in the exploitdb.com. So you can learn it from here as well as. So there are the techniques and methods how you guys can identify information through Google Docs. Like we have the categories also. Vulnerable server, if you go for the vulnerable server, you can just use this Google Doc, right? In text, in title, in URL, right? Ext is also one of the famous Google Docs which can be used for identify the files from the website, right? So there are a lot of things with which that you can use to identify the information. And if you see, there are around for 16 pages which contain the list of all Google Docs that will help us to identify the information. So I think this is much for you guys to gather the information through Google Docs. And if you learn more about the Google Docs, just go to these websites and definitely you will get something interesting, right? So thank you guys. I hope you would like my session.